So as discussed yesterday, we've been talking about the idea of politics, and we concluded that the idea of politics is to uh, aspiration to hold power is called uh, politics, and anybody and everybody who lives in a society tends to hold power, aspire to hold power. So, how to hold power, right? And what format will be workable, and in what terms will it be decided that who is holding that power, right? There has to be some acceptable norms in the society. As I discussed, no one is a superhero. No one has the ultimate power. No one is supra physical ability. No one has the supra physical ability. And we don't have He-Man or Superman or Shaktiman or any sort of supernatural powers who can defy physical norms and the law of physics and can do anything. So everybody is binded with one order of nature. So in within the order of the nature, who will have acceptable authority in the society, and by what means will somebody attain that authority is called the process of achieving that power for which we aspire. So, A, we aspire for power, that is called politics. B, how will everybody accept that you or I or anybody else is holding that power, right? So there are certain methods to achieve power among the society, and it is still being developing. It has been developing from the day one we humanity has got conscience. So we keep on achieving it. We keep on getting to what we say. We keep on looking at it. What are the methods and means of achieving powers? Most of us know, and it is still disputed, not everybody agree to it, but most of us know that majority of the civilization experiments with the civilization happened around uh, the Middle East and right the junction of the Sahara and Thar Desert, and like the area called Syria, Palestine, Iraq, Egyptia. So these are the regions wherein we started exploring civilizations and understanding how cohabitations will happen. A lot of science of living, a lot of structure of cities, mega cities started developing at this area, and then on we started distributing to different part of worlds. That's a history. So a lot of dispute, a lot of counter theories to it, but let's agree to the fact that all civilizations have evidences, have explained, have evidences that everyone are interconnected. None of the civilizations lived standalone. If you look at the nomenclatures, you can find out that all of them are have been at any point of time in the history have been at one places. If you look at the words like Adam and Eve, Adam and Hawa, Adi Sakti, anything, all belongs to A. Likewise, there are a lot of other words you will find out from the ancient histories across the world, from all theology. You agree to the fact that all of these theories, civilizations at any point of time in the past belong to one places. So even if it is not, let me tell you how attain a system of attaining to power, attaining to acceptable power. Right, there are two ways of power. So one is called anarchic power, and another is called established and acceptable power. So like Dawood Ibrahim in India is having an anarchic power. So nobody has given him certificate, but he holds the power of economic control of certain market, and in fact social control of certain markets and certain societies of India and other part of the nearby countries. Another anarchic power we will call about, like the terms called Maoist and separatist and jihadist. You will get Sikh extremism, you will get Christian extremism, you will get Hindu extremism, Muslim extremism, as the world discussing about it. So these people are not have not got any letter of authority or any sort of certificate that they hold power, but they do hold power, power of weapons, power of organized ideology, power of people, power of group. So they have another set of power is called acceptable power, like the countries and the nation. Like India is a nation, and we have a Supreme Court, we have Government of India, we have parliaments, we have uh, judiciary, we have president, legislative, and then bureaucracy. So all these things put together, they issue a letter of authority to each other. They respect each other's authority, and in fact, the world fraternity accepts this authority. So one is called when larger part of the society accepts some power, and then larger part of the society does not accept certain power, right? So but both power exist. So for example, in your locality there is a member of councillor called parshad. So parshad has got a letter of authority from the government of state or government of India or the constitution of India, that he holds a power that he can make changes in your roads and construct new roads, create severages, put lights, and put the society in order. But then there will be some sort of bahubali or the other goon who kind of do extortions, charges money from the juggies and bastis, and takes money from little street vendors and all. But even the police is involved and everybody else is involved. So this guy is not having any letter of authority from any super authority, but he do possess fear among the people. People follow his instructions, work upon the order what he says. So that is called an uncertified power. And then there are a lot of other powers as such, like a person who is very respectable and admirable in your society is old, he has been retired from some very good post and job, and kind of very wise man. Everybody asks him, takes counseling from him, and he go and meets government and ask them what kind of changes your society wants. So he's also another power sector in the society, which is more admirable by the people. People do not fear him but respect him. So these are the power sectors which I'm talking about. In a larger context, when as the population increases, we have to deliver um, some sort of laws, rules, and norms, some sort of methodology by which larger powers will exist. Because as a layman, you and I will surrender to any power whatsoever, whether authorized, non authorized, issued, non issued, imposed, self imposed, or accepted, elected, selected, whatever it is. So, selected power like commissioner and collector and police are the selected power. There exists some panel of body, panel who take interview and select them, train them, and then they depute them to your locality. So this is called selected power. Elected power is like when you vote to your councillor, when you vote to your MLA, when you vote to your member of parliament, then you elect a power. So select the power and elect a power. And then there are powers like imposed. Imposed power are the goons or bahubalis or the mafia existing around you, and you obey to them. Everybody obeys to them, acceptably, lovingly or out of hatred, but we all accept that power. Self-imposed power is like when any Supreme Court lawyer or any High Court lawyer or any school teacher or anybody who have been into politics in past of time, maybe a priest to a temple or a Maulvi to a mosque, anybody of this sort who kind of accepted that people have accepted that he has some knowledge who can put order and peace into the society. That's called self-imposed power. But we all surrender to a power. But we are laymen. We do not put any rules and norms and law into it. But how these MLAs, how these goons and street bahubalis and street smart cheat cheaters and Maulvis and father of the church or a priest, how will they surrender to or maybe not surrender exactly, how will they accept their superpowers, right? Everybody has a power above them. So who will, like a county, then a county will have city, and the city have a district, district have a state. So how will they accept the power above them? So there has to be some acceptable norms. Even Dawood Ibrahim have acceptable norms, that who will be holding what market for him, and what counties and what streets for him. And similarly, government of India has, and the government of Pakistan has, or the government of China has. Similarly, for the government of Madhya Pradesh or Uttar Pradesh or any part of state have. So everybody have this acceptable norms, and this method is evolving. The point is that it's a very recent version that we have got elected to the power as the easiest, most acceptable, and more justified method of attaining to the power. So when you elect somebody to a power, that is called democracy, right? When people, group of people, rightfully elect somebody to rule the power, that is called democracy. So when some group of power accept some power as a superpower, that is called aristocracy, right? So like a king of Malwa and the king of Nimad and king of uh, another part of the world, they collectively say that okay, the king of Mughal in Delhi is our king. So that means their small powers are acceding to a bigger power. So that is called aristocracy. Like that, this is the way by which East India Company has established control in India, by surrendering Mughals, by surrendering to Marathas, Rajputanas, and Mysore and uh, Travancore, Bengal, Madras. All these powers have surrendered to East India and then British Empire. So this is called aristocracy, wherein one super king is ruling, issuing the authority to smaller kings, and the smaller kings to smaller general and army general and all sort of things. So, but how aristocracy has transformed to democracy. So there is another means of attaining to power, that is called theocracy, wherein religion and the institution of religion become the sole authority, supreme authority of the society. Like the temple or the churches or the mosques, when they started issuing orders to the society, and including all sort of orders. So, like in Mughal, during the Mughals age in India, uh, mosques used to issue every single orders from their institutions, including when to cultivate, when the land is fertile, when agriculture should happen, what kind of crop should be taken off, when to marry, what to marry, how to marry, whom to marry, how caste will exist, who will have money, who will have lands, who will possess homes, bigger homes. All sort of orders used to passed by a Mirza or Maulvi or um, uh, or a Qazi in the society. So that was called theocracy. So it was theocracy beneath aristocracy. So the Mughals were the aristocrats, below them was the theocrats. So that was the system then. Before that, theocrats was above to that was called Vedic ages. In fact, around Vedic ages, all the Shankaracharya and the Mathadhish in India specifically, and all the Maulvis and Maulanas into Middle East area, and all the churches, popes, and uh, right? Vatican and Church of Rome used to have the power, control the power in Europe. So that time was, that age era was called theocracy. So if you look at all these things, and if anybody is attaining the power, I will kill you tomorrow and I'll attain the power, that is called anarchy. So we started with anarchy. Whoever was having muscle, whoever was having brain, whoever was smart enough to kill somebody else and attain to the power was called anarchy. For a very long, long time, humanity has gone through anarchy. And then a lot of people collected together and thought that this will not work. Nobody can kill anybody at any point of time. There has to be some judicial method. So, in the process of developing more justified and judicial methods, we uh, we got to uh, we got to establish certain methods. So, the first method that came to system was called aristocracy. And aristocracy was always in trouble and tussle with the theocracy because civilizations were transforming to religion and religion was trying to overpower civilization. So civilizations allowed aristocracy to rule them, but this theocracy wanted that all the power should remain with them. And both of these institutions worked upon the principle of perception, maybe imposed perception. So nobody had any sort of understanding, clarity about how a lot of things are working. But since they can, because people was anyway innocent, people were anyway ignorant, a lot of people were ignorant, so any kind of justification to whatever happened around them was acceptable to them. So it started happening with the thought that whenever some question arises in the society, for example, why earthquake happens, and because science is not evolved and nobody can answer that a shift in the tectonic plates causes earthquake, nobody was knowing it, there was no machines, there was no technology, so they just said that at the mercy of god, earthquake happens. So the next question is that how we can escape from the danger of earthquake. So they said that okay, bow to gods, kneel down to gods and pay them respect, and if we pay them respect, earthquake will never come. So how to pay respect to gods? They said, okay, go and respect to your king, respect to the priest in your temple, and if you keep on respecting them, feeding them, give them all good things you have, then God will remain happy and He will never cause this earthquake, and you will be forever free from such dangers. So people simply followed it because they have accepted that all these wise men, talented men, intelligent men are thinking good about the society. So that society that is anyway right. So they accepted. Gradually, when they realized that earthquake has no relationship with priest or temple or kings and courts, then they started demanding the new set of laws and rules. So sometimes theocracy took the power, and sometimes aristocracy took the power. In the middle way, very lately we realized when poverty was increasing, when other things was increasing, we realized that no, it is wrong, and the actual way of power should lie to the people, and people will authenticate somebody to rule. So how people will authenticate, what is the method to authenticate any person, what will be the rights and authority of the people who will be elected. So all these norms and rules is called democracy, right? So how we invented universal adult franchising, how everybody started exercising their votes, how women got opportunity to exercise their votes, why will come to you in our next video. Thank you very much.